Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. Hello, friends. I am your host, your ridiculously over good brother, Anthony Florio. I am joined right now by the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson, awaiting the presence, perhaps, of good old MF Michael Fletcher and or the Phenom Michael Bullock. I'm not sure where they are. The Phenom, Michael Bullock, and I, we did not have our Raw chat this evening, so I'm guessing he's probably out and about somewhere. I'm not sure about MF. I don't know if he's working or what's going on, but we have to get going here. So we're just going to start the show. If either of them or both of them come in, we'll catch them up on what they missed. But if not, then I'm sure we'll have them back on Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem. But tonight, Monday Night Raw, this was the go-home show for the Royal Rumble, and it was live from the Intrust Bank Arena in Wichita, Kansas, on the USA Network as usual. And we started off the evening with, of course, your obligatory elongated windbag talking segment, and it was Seth Rollins, AOP, and the newest member of his little group here, Buddy Murphy, and Rollins cuts his usual shtick, and then they get interrupted by Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe. And Owens and Joe, issued a challenge for a fight to the four men. But then from there, Team Rollins thought, okay, it's the four of us against the two of you. We got you down. But Joe and Owens were like, okay, we ain't alone. We got some help. We got some backup. Come on out, boys. And those boys ended up being the Raw Tag Team Champions, Eric and Ivar, the Viking Raiders. So and then all hell breaks loose, and it leads into a backstage segment shortly after that, where Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy challenged the Viking Raiders for the Raw Tag Team Championship. That match was granted, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But I'll say it. The opening segment was solid, and it set the stage for a possible 8-man tag down the road. I still wish that WWE would take this opportunity to have the Messiah rechristen Buddy Murphy with a less generic sounding name. But I am surprised they're going right to, and I was also surprised about how they started the show this evening. But I'm not surprised because they've been loading up the first hour of the show lately. So this was a solid way to start it off. So not much more to say on this. I'm going to bring in Dee Dee Woodson now. So, Dee Dee, your thoughts on this opening segment? Solid.
Yeah, it was solid. I mean, it was very, I guess you'd say, continuing the storyline driven. And then, of course, adding new players into the match, which would be the Viking Raiders. Giving Buddy Murphy a chance to kind of shine as the new disciple and everything. So yeah, I have nothing negative to say about it because, like I said, it was very, very good and very storyline driven. So not much more I have to say. It's all yours.
All right, and we're gonna start off the first with the first match of the evening, and what a way to start it off! The ladder match for the United States Heavyweight Championship. The champion Andrade with Zelina Vega, as always, defending against the man he took it from in Madison Square Garden last month at the house show, Rey Mysterio. When all was said and done, the winner of the match, 18 minutes, 45 seconds, and still the United States Heavyweight Champion. It was Andrade. Zelina Vega plays dividends yet again. What else is new? But even with that, Dee Dee Woodson, I knew it was going to steal the dang show, and I'm not surprised I was right.
Oh yeah, it definitely stole the show. It was definitely I'd have to say this one probably was the fight of the night. I mean, there was one other one that was almost as good, but this one was definitely the better of the two. It did have some rough spots. It was good. Of course, the commercial breaks always hurts the momentum of a match for us that watch religiously on the TV for the shows. But yeah, the overall flow momentum of the match was really good, and this definitely I would even say this was maybe a pay-per-view worthy match. It was very well done. I'm going to give it about 3.25 to almost 4 stars. I mean, it was a great match, even with Vega interrupting the way she did. But the comeback at the end after the match, I think, made it even better. Because you see Carrillo come out in a mask, and you don't know who it is until he takes the mask off. I mean, our first thought over here was that it was Dominic finally premiering, but no, it was a comeback. So yeah, great opening match. So it's all yours.
Yes, for me, this was without a doubt the fight of the night. I'm giving this a solid 3.5 to 4 stars. Very good ladder match with a couple of overly ambitious spots, namely that Hurricanrana from the belt hook. Mysterio took the worst of that spill, and hopefully he's all right. Humberto Carrillo returning to prevent Andrade from hitting Mysterio with the same move that put him on the shelf was logical. It'll be interesting to see if this is the end of the Andrade and Mysterio feud for now, and whether they can get Carrillo over this time around. And I'm really hoping they do, because, I've been very high on that young man since his 205 Live days, and rightfully so, considering I am the 205 Live guy. So that's really all I can say on that. Good old MF Michael Fletcher has just joined us. We got MF here, so MF, come on in. You didn't miss much. Just want to get your thoughts on the opening segment with Seth Rollins and company against Owens, Joe, and the Viking Raiders, and then that unbelievable ladder match with Rey and Andrade.
Yeah, no, first off, no doubt about it. Segment was good, solid, served its purpose, nothing more to say about that. As far as the fight goes, 4 stars. Absolutely, you guys absolutely nailed it. Really nothing more to add, so Anthony, let's go.
All right, and of course, what's this show without cutouts? And Aleister Black squashes some Hammerneger in 9 seconds with a black mask that the Hammerneger literally ran right into. So that's all there is to say on that. Now we go into somewhat of a repetitive segment here. Usually we get repetitive matches. Well, we had a match. We had a segment here with Brock Lesnar, the WWE champion, and his advocate Paul Heyman, doing their usual shtick in the whole 9 yards. But then somebody came out, and you remember it was R-Truth last week, but this time around, it was Ricochet. Ricochet actually balls up to the beast here. So MF, I mean, Ricochet balling up to the beast here. How about it?
But the thing was, the last one was more of a funny, stupid skit. For Ricochet to show up, that's more of a legit situation, more better, because now you got an actual talent going after Brock. But the same result ended. Brock destroys Ricochet. So a lot of people felt bad because they felt like, he didn't really deserve to get buried here tonight, but he did. So, I mean, decent for what it was worth. Obviously, money on the mic was Heyman. And, and Ricochet held his own. So I really got nothing more to add. So, Didi, what's in it? It's yours.
Didi, are you there?
There we go. Now it's unmuted. It did unmute a few minutes ago. This is another good match. Really enjoyed it. So, my notes are going crazy on me, though. I'm going to give it probably about 3 stars. So, not much more I'm going to say about it. You guys kind of covered it. So, it's yours, Florio.
That wasn't a match. That was the Lesnar segment with Ricochet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got lost because, like I said, my notes were going crazy.
I think, with all due respect, I think somebody's still off of an amazing high from yesterday, if you know what I mean.
I didn't celebrate as much as he did.
Well, congrats nonetheless. We're so happy for you guys.
Thanks. Yeah, and it's ironic that they're going to be in the Dolphins Stadium, since the Dolphins kind of helped them get the home field advantage especially if you talk to Kevin or any other kind of KC fans, or if you ask Fletch, because I mean they've bombarded him with all those things too. So yeah, okay. Yeah, my notes were flipping, so I was having a hard time catching where I was. So yeah, Paul, of course, did the great delivery on the mic as usual. Yeah, it was a very well done segment, and a nice surprise to see Ricochet come out. So yeah, I'm going to pretty much agree with everything said and let you guys go for it.
Yeah, for any fans who might be wondering what I was talking about there, yesterday, Didi and Kevin Woodson's favorite football team, the Kansas City Chiefs, advanced to the Super Bowl yesterday, first time in 50 years. So that's where I was going for there. But
yeah, and unfortunately, one of our friends goes for the 49ers.
Oh boy, Buddy Bowl.
Yeah, so if we get together, it would be a very interesting Super Bowl party.
Oh, I'm sure it would be. Yeah, me.
I know it gets interesting in our house for Army-Navy game because his dad was in the Army and my dad was in the Navy.
Okay.
So it'd be the same type of thing.
Oh, I'm sure it would. And yeah, me, MF, and Bullock, we got special plans of our own for the big one. But we'll get into all of that when we do our big Super Bowl preview show 10 nights from now on Thursday, January 30th. So you don't want to miss that. A little programming reminder. But anyways, yeah, I didn't really expect Ricochet to get the better of Lesnar, and I really didn't want them to foreshadow him as a surprise winner of the Rumble match. But I had also hoped he'd at least put up a bit of a fight instead of just taking a kick to the nether region there. So, and I thought Lesnar would have laid him out with an F5 like he did to R-Truth. So, but yeah, MF hit the nail on the head. I mean, last week it was, a funny, campy comedy nonsense segment. Whereas this time we had a more legitimate talent in Ricochet, who I had read dirt sheets that they wanted to have Ricochet challenge Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble. That would have been a hell of a lot better. I rather would have seen that any day of the week, even though we all know Lesnar would have probably squashed him. But I'm sure Ricochet would have put up a hell of a fight against the Beast, just like a lot of the smaller guys have, like your Finn Balor's and your AJ Styles and your Daniel Bryan's, just to name a few. So I would have loved to have seen that, but oh well. Then from there, we set it up, and oh boy, what a matchup we have here. The Viper, Randy Orton, squaring off against the Scottish psychopath, Drew McIntyre. When all was said and done, the fight ends in a no contest at 12 minutes because of outside interference from AJ Styles and the Good Brothers, the Club, the OC. Unfortunately, we're going to have to put this as an NA, but if I was going to give it a rating, I was going to give it about 3 stars for the effort. I mean, man, it's a damn shame. I mean, how many times over the years have we seen instances where we've had great matches, where matches were really getting good, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, outside interference spoils it. And that's exactly what we got here. And but it was a very good match up until the interference. I mean, if we had had a clean winner, we could have been talking about another 3.5 to 4, like Andrade and Ray. But but then Randy Orton lays him out with an RKO afterward, and then McIntyre cuts a very great promo afterward, saying that I'm gonna Claymore you, and I'm gonna win the Royal Rumble, and I'm gonna finally main event at WrestleMania. Now, I know Roman Reigns is the odds-on favorite. I get that and whatnot, but at the same time, there's always a guy that you really want to see win. Last year, I got what I wanted. I wanted Seth Rollins to win the Royal Rumble match last year, the men's side. And I got what I wanted. I got Seth Rollins, and he won the Royal Rumble, and we all know what he did after that. Made history twice. But this year, I'm rooting for Drew McIntyre. I mean, I really want to see this guy get his moment, a well-deserved moment, and I would love to see him be the one to dethrone the Beast at WrestleMania. I really want to see that. If anybody deserves a world title run, this is the guy who does right here. I mean, especially at this stage of his career, and especially I know he did a lot of bad things in the past, the whole Tiffany, Taryn Terrell incident. I get that and everything else. But I think he's learned from it. I think he's paid his dues. And I think that he is one that we need to keep an eye on in the Royal Rumble match. Is he going to win it? My gut says no, but my heart is really pulling for him. It really, really is. So that's just a personal thing I wanted to get off my chest. So, but it's going to have to be an NA for the match. But if I was going to give it a rating, I would have given it a solid 3. It was on its way to being really good, but then they had to have that damn interference. And oh, how I hate that. So nothing more to say. MF, the Viper, and the Scottish Psychopath, man, they were on their way to having one hell of a match, but then AJ and the OC had to put the kibosh on it, as we always say. So MF, let's get your thoughts on all this. I don't know where MF is. Oh, there he is. Okay.
Forgot to unmute my mic. I mean, you can say the same thing. This is easily, you can call this a 3-star fight, but because the fight ended in a no contest, it's an NA automatically. But yeah, absolutely. Same thing that you said, Florio. No arguments here. So let's move on.
Didi Woodson, your thoughts?
Yeah, I would have given it a 3-star if it wasn't for the DQ. But yeah, it was a really good until the finish. So yeah, I don't have anything else to add. So let's move on.
Very well, and then we move on to the Raw Women's Champion, the man Becky Lynch, defending actually non-title match against Kairi Sane of the Kabuki Warriors. Asuka in her corner. Becky Lynch wins the match in an even 9 minutes with the disarm her, but then after the match, Asuka strikes again. Oh, MF. Oh.
What a build. Nicely done. But here's the problem. Go home show. Asuka's been getting the momentum going into the fight. She jumped Becky with the mist 2 weeks ago. She jumped her again tonight. I'm sorry. Booking 101 says that Becky should get the comeuppance, and Becky will some way, somehow get the job done. She'll get her revenge from a year ago. Unfortunately, you got to put this down as a Becky Lynch win for Royal Rumble. So nothing more to say. I could give this maybe 1.5 to 2 stars. And Didi, I give it to you.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Well, let's go 2 to 2.5. Yeah, it was a good match. But yeah, it looks like Booking 101 is going to kick in here, and it's going to be Becky Lynch in the end, winning at the pay-per-view. So yeah, good match. Kind of surprised that the ref let Asuka sit on the turnbuckle the way she did for most of the match. But other than that, I have no beef with it. So it's yours, Florio.
A solid 2.5 for the effort on my end. I have enjoyed the build to the Lynch and Asuka match. We went from Becky Lynch doubting herself to finding confidence in her go-home promo, only to have Asuka leave her laying. And like MFS says, Asuka has gotten the better of Becky Lynch for several weeks now, including tonight. And then, of course, last week we saw the Green Mist and everything else. So, yeah, there is no question about it. Booking 101, simple Booking 101. It's very likely going to be Becky who will go over and get her payback from last year when she lost to Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship in Phoenix last year. So that's all we can say on that. So 2.5 for the effort. That's how I feel. Now we move on to the match for the Raw Tag Team Championship. The champions, the Viking Raiders, Eric and Ivar, defending against Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. Of course, the Viking Raiders had Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens in their corner, while Rollins and Murphy had AOP in their corner. But Owens, Joe, and AOP, they all got banned from ringside. They all got ejected by senior referee Chad Patton. Rightfully so, and it led into the true tag team matchup. When all was said and done, the winners of the match, 11 minutes and 5 seconds, and new Raw Tag Team Champions, Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. Didi Woodson, the Monday Night Messiah, and his new disciple, just like that, out of nowhere, we got new champions. How about it? Didi Woodson, started with you.
For some reason, my mic is not coming unmuted when I push the button. I don't know what's going on. This is the other one I thought was really good and could have been a fight of the night contender, but I gave the fight of the night actually to the first match because I have to count off a little bit for all the interference from everybody else that got booted to the back. But still, it was a 3.5-star match, and I'm kind of surprised that Rollins and Murphy won it, but at the same time, the Viking Raiders have had it for quite some time, and it was time to kind of push it off on someone else. But I thought when Seth was talking that it would have been AOP going for the titles and not Rollins and Murphy. So yeah, this was a fairly good match. I liked it pretty well, so I really don't have a whole lot negative to say about it. It pretty much kind of continued the storyline that they've got going on. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah, 3 to 3.5 stars. Just like you, Didi, I have to admit, I really honestly did not see the tag title change coming, especially where this match was placed in the show. I assumed that the AOP would eventually take the tag straps. Rollins would go for the WWE Championship, and Buddy Murphy would go for the United States Heavyweight Championship. But I suppose they could still go in that direction long term. But I enjoyed the surprise title change either way, and it was a very good match. It was the second best fight of the night, and that's really, a very surprising title change. I really didn't see that coming, especially with where it was placed. If it was in the main event spot, I definitely would have saw it coming, but considering where it was, I was like, no, I don't see it coming. But I'm like, wow, they did it, unbelievable. So Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy, congratulations, new Raw Tag Team Champions. So there's really nothing more to say. I'm going to take a quote from Good Ol' MF and Gorilla Monsoon as we give it to MF. MF, history was made, Monsoon.
It was sure indeed. New tag team champions. Congratulations, Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. For Murphy, I believe this is his first in the main roster. I believe.
Does the cruiserweight belt count?
Yeah, well, I'm talking tag team. I'm not talking cruiserweight. But I believe this is the first time Buddy Murphy is a tag team champion. And for Seth Rollins, number 5 for him. He's a 5-time. This is his 5th different partner as tag team champion. We actually did. I was talking to a few of the guys on Discord tonight. My DCW crew, and we were talking about it. Seth Rollins has now had 5 different partners as World Tag Team Champions, and this is the 5th. So congratulations to Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. And as far as the fight goes, 3 stars. I'll give you that. And history, like you said, history was indeed made. So nothing more to say. Floyo, it's yours.
Yeah, 5 different partners. Roman Reigns, I know, was one. Dean Ambrose. Then there was Jason Jordan. And
Braun Strowman was number 4.
Braun, yes, Braun Strowman. He was the one that slipped my mind. I knew Roman Reigns from the Shield. I knew Dean Ambrose, and I also knew Jason Jordan. And obviously Murphy now is like, who was that last other one? But yes,
it was Braun Strowman. Braun was the fifth.
Braun Strowman, and it's the first main roster tag team championship for Buddy Murphy. He is a former NXT tag team champion. Let's not forget that with Wesley Blake when they were Blake and Murphy when they had Alexa Bliss by their side a number of years ago when NXT was catching fire. But nonetheless, though, yeah, very surprising outcome. Nobody saw that coming. It definitely gave you a flashback to the 90s when Vinnie Mac always used to say, anything can happen in the WWF or E or whatever you want to call it. So that's all we can say on that. Now, unfortunately, we have to, we're going to have to put cutout on the rest of the show here because we had nonsense for the rest of the show, which is unfortunate, but we had Eric Rowan squashing Matt Hardy, 2 minutes and 10 seconds. No comment. And then from there, of all the matches you had to have as the main event on the go-home show of one of your biggest pay-per-views of the year, you go with this. You go with the mixed tag match. Bobby Lashley and Lana against Rusev and Liv Morgan. Bobby Lashley and Lana win the match. 3.5 minutes. Strange way. A very strange way to close Raw's go-home show for the Royal Rumble. But at least the match was quick. Does this mean maybe Friday Night SmackDown will close with the obligatory big brawl that WWE typically does before the Rumble match? And maybe the women's Rumble match will actually get some attention on SmackDown? Maybe, maybe not. So that's really all I can say on this. So we're gonna get into our overall review here. And for me, I'll be honest. It started strong, but it was pretty uneventful following the tag title change. We did have some very good matches this evening, so I'm leaning towards about 6.5 to 7. If what happened at the end didn't happen, maybe we would have been talking higher. But I can't ignore the efforts of a lot of the folks tonight, especially Rey and Andrade. That ladder match was amazing for the United States Heavyweight Championship. That was the show stealer. The tag title match, that was another very good match. And then Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre, even with the NA finish, it was still a great match. The Lesnar and Heyman segment this week was actually better than last week because we had a legitimate talent in Ricochet. And not too many cutouts, but unfortunately, it was the cutouts that ruled on this night. So that's really all I can say on this. So, but for the effort, I'm going to give it about 6.5 to 7. If I overscored it, then it is what it is. So, but I can't ignore the efforts of my guys and gals tonight. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it, whether I'm right or wrong. So it doesn't matter to me. So 6.5 to 7. MF, what says you?
Partial disagreement. I'm going 6 to 6.5 though. I'll meet you at the 6.5. I just don't see 7 here. But 6.5. Good show. Solid for what it was worth. Yeah, it lost its momentum right at the very end after the tag team title fight. I don't understand why you would have it. And what happened to that major league overlap? Didn't happen. So, all right, it is what it is. I'll live with it. So, yeah. Dee, what's I'll give it to you.
I'll meet you both in the middle and go 6.5. It started off good. We had some good segments. We had some good matches. The ending was less to be desired. I'm sure right when everybody saw that Matt Hardy was getting ready to face Eric Rowan, there was probably a lot of televisions that went click, click, click to something else. It was good to see Matt in a match, but the minute you saw Eric Rowan come out, you knew what was going to happen. So, most of the ending very predictable, but still storyline driven there at the last match, even though the last match sucked. Um, not a. I don't have a whole lot to add to it. I have seen Asuka's YouTube channel. She does do more on there than what Becky actually said. But you have to make sure you read a lot because she does most of it in her native language. So yeah, very very good with all the storyline progression that happened on this. So and yeah, they didn't touch a whole lot on the women's Rumble, but they did touch on the Raw matches that are at the Royal Rumble. So it's still pay-per-view progression slightly. I think the only thing really talked about the Rumble was Paul Heyman's thing. And then, of course, the announcers hyping it up several times. The only little thing with the women's Rumble was the Charlotte segment, which I kind of liked Becky coming out and smiling at her, since she was referring to Becky anyway. But, like I said, there's a lot of good here, but, you had to throw the bad in with it because what else is WWE good for? So, not much more I had to say about it. Like I said, I'm hitting with 6.5, so I'm eating both guys in the middle, and I will see you guys Wednesday. Good night.
Good night, Didi. We'll see you Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem. And MF was referring to the overrun. Now, there was a dirt sheet that came out today about the overrun from Monday Night Raw, and I know MF and Didi were all over it. But here's the thing. We all have different providers. I know MF has Cox Communications, and I know there were some DirecTV things that were going on about it, and I have Dish Network, and
I have Spectrum, and it said 11:34.
Well, I finally figured it out. I did some investigative reporting, and they were using that as a lead-in for Miz and Mrs., and they thought maybe people would tune into it if they thought it was, if they had listed it as Raw. So it was just a tie-in for Miz and Mrs. That's why they did that's why they listed it as an overrun on those providers. But on mine, it did not list that at all. It listed Raw as the usual 8 to 11 time. So I didn't see an overrun on my end. So just wanted to address that elephant in the room. I sent you guys a message in our messenger chat. I'm sure you guys read it. So, but I just wanted to address it to anybody out there who may have been wondering what was going on. So. But anyways, let's get into my Tony's take here, and we're going to start it off with Impact Wrestling. Now, this was a very special Impact Wrestling. You had Josh Matthews and Don Callis on location from the studios in Nashville, Tennessee, and they showed a few taped matches. And this first one was a fatal 4-way tag team matchup: the Desi Hit Squad against the Rascals, against Reno Scum, against TJP and Daga. Desi Hit Squad won the match, 7 minutes and 40 seconds, 3 stars. While a bit chaotic, it was a good, fun, and all-action opener. And they did a lot of recap videos from the Hard to Kill pay-per-view. So I'm not going to really get too much into it, but they did announce that. Well, then and then there was a match: Joey Ryan against Johnny Swinger. Joey Ryan won it in 6 minutes and 40 seconds. 2-star match. The Joey Ryan stuff does nothing for me. The crowd was entertained, so you can't really call it a failure, I guess. This next match was taped at the House of Hardcore. It was announced as a Next Division Championship fatal 4-way match. Ace Austin defending against Moose, Falaba, and Eddie Edwards. Ace Austin successfully defends it at 18 minutes and 50 seconds. This was the fight of the night, 3.25 stars. I wish they would not have mentioned that it was a Next Division title match, as it clearly gave away the result. But the match was good, but drastically faded following the last commercial break. And then they closed it out with an interview segment with the new World Heavyweight Champion, Tessa Blanchard, and, interviewed by Josh Matthews, and then interrupted by the former champion, Sami Callihan. And Sami Callihan, he did his usual creepy shtick and really good closing segment, to be honest with you. So as a whole, I'm going to give this 7.5 out of 10. I mean, it was the fallout from Hard to Kill. It was a very good show. Some good wrestling. Did a really strong job of recapping the event. Really good closing segment with Sammy and Tessa, and this show more than served its purpose as we go into the next set of tapings, which will be up in Mexico. So that's really all I can say on that. There was another segment on that show, but we're not going to dignify it with a response, and that's really all I can say there. So let's get into what we can expect this week on Impact Wrestling, which will air on Access TV tomorrow night at 8 with an encore at 11. We started off with the new World Heavyweight Champion, Tessa Blanchard. She cut the promo, interrupted by Taya Valkyrie. And then Ace Austin shows up, and all hell breaks loose there. Then we had Taurus squaring off against Moose and Rhino in a three-way. Joey Ryan against Maximo. Havoc and Rosemary, they go at it again. Willie Mack against Rohit Raju of the Desi Hit Squad. And then we had a mixed tag team main event. X Division champion Ace Austin, Knockouts champion Taya Valkyrie, squaring off against the World Heavyweight champion Tessa Blanchard and Trey Miguel. So you can expect all that. You can see that tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, with an encore at 11 on Access TV for those of you who have it. So, and for those of you out there, unfortunately, you won't be able to do it on Twitch anymore because of that nonsensical RVD segment. Man alive. So,
damn you, RVD! You had to do it. You had to do it. You idiot. You had to do it. You had to ruin it for me and my boys. We are pissed.
Yeah, and I don't blame you because I don't believe your provider carries Axe TV, doesn't it?
No.
So I'm sorry to say this, but the only way you're gonna be able to do any of that is to go on their YouTube channel, subscribe to their YouTube channel, which I am. So I know it won't be the full matches or anything, but it'll just be snippets of it. That's really the only way any of you non-Access TV folks out there will be able to see Impact Wrestling nowadays. And I feel for you, man. I really do. I mean, and I know. I mean, and I never thought I would ever hear you go after RVD, considering you were one of his biggest marks for how long?
Not anymore. Not after this.
Yeah, the heel turn's done nothing for me either. So, especially at this stage of his career, I mean, I was kind of hoping they would have kept him that mega over babyface that he once was. So, but we're not even going to dignify it because it was disgusting. I mean, it's the only thing that's even worse than the whole Rusev, Lana, Lashley BS. So that's really all I can say on that. And to those two young ladies, ugh. As a man of good faith, yeah, that was cringeworthy.
Yeah.
So, but nonetheless, for any of you non-access folks out there, you'll just have to check it out on YouTube for the time being. So, 205 Live, we started off with a match, Tyler Breeze against Arya Daivari. Tyler Breeze wins it, 10 minutes, 55 seconds, 2.5-star match. Breeze was really good, but Daivari is still, he's the weak link of the show. There's no question about that. Or one of the weak links, rather. Leo Rush against Sunil Singh of the Singh brothers. Leo Rush wins in 6 minutes, 10 seconds, 1.5 stars. Leo tried, but this had too much BS, too much Singh nonsense, and having Sunil actually control over Leo and look competitive in any way is a joke, as their offense is usually grounding and dance moves to no reaction. The Singh brothers and Arya Daivari are the weak links of the show, and that's why the shows have been sucking as of late. But this was good, though. Isaiah Scott against Raul Mendoza. Isaiah Scott, Swerve, wins it, 10 minutes, 20 seconds, 3.5 stars. Isaiah Scott winning was the right call, as he is in the 4-way Cruiserweight title match at Worlds Collide with Angel Garza and the two representatives from NXT UK. They both worked very hard, had a really good match with the fresh offense mixed in, but it was a match that almost no one will likely have watched because, let's face it, nobody really watches the show anymore. So, another 5 out of 10. it's become like an enhancement show. It's like WWE Superstars, or main event for the cruiserweight division, and not a good one. So much talent on the roster for the cruiserweights, yet these shows are constantly filled with the Singh brothers and Arya Davari taking up way too much of the show, which leads to disinterested crowds just not giving a damn. And worse than that, they're not even trying to build angles anymore. It's such the show, and the great matches feel a lifetime away as WWE continues to rib us and shove the Singhs and Arya Davari down our throat instead of using so many of the other talented guys in the division. I used to love this show so much. I mean, these shows were pulling in 7s and 8s every week. Not anymore. So that's all I can say on that. So that's going to put the ball on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Let's bring in good old MF Michael Fletcher, and we're going to set the table for Wednesday Night Mayhem. So, MF, what do you got?
Well, as usual, Wednesday Night Mayhem will be leading off with AEW and NXT, and we're going to be doing that at 10:30 Eastern Time. So we got really nothing more to add, and Anthony, it's yours.
And then from there, Thursday night, we do have to figure out what we want to put on our show for Strictly Sports. Well, we already know one thing we got to put on the show. The unfortunate scandal in Major League Baseball. I know it's something that we need to address, and we will address that. No worries.
We will address that as well. We will also have our thoughts on the brand new inductees into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's right.
The Baseball Hall of Fame is announcing tomorrow.
That's right.
So we'll get into that as well. And we should probably get into some of the baseball hot stove stuff. Some of the big signings that happened.
Oh, yeah.
During the winter. So we'll get into that as well. And maybe a preview I was going to say maybe a preview of the NHL All-Star game because it is this weekend, but we might not. We'll probably save that for next week.
Well, don't forget the following week is our big Super Bowl show.
But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move that to Friday, and I'm bumping the Cerebral Smack Talk so that we could give the Super Bowl its own show.
Okay. All right. So what were you thinking?
Well, I was thinking the same thing like we've done in the past. Basically the tail of the tape. Who we like offensively, who we like defensively, special teams, coaching, and then we're gonna do our official prediction for the Super Bowl. Yeah.
So what day were you figuring?
The Friday before the game.
So does that mean we put Cerebral Smack Talk on the burner for a week?
Yes, we will.
Okay. All right. So so that Thursday will be an off night then.
Yes.
Good. I like the sound of that. Okay, so you heard it here first, folks. Friday, January 31st, we will not be doing the Cerebral Smack Talk. Instead, we will be previewing Super Bowl 54. You heard it from MF. So because he is our EP. So that's a big rule in there, MF. I like it. So so here we go. Here's the content. And I want to make sure I'm right with the MF on this. Well, we already know Wednesday's Wednesday Night Mayhem, so nothing to worry about there. Thursday is Strictly Sports, and we'll do the scandal and the whole 9 yards. The Hall of Fame inductees, the whatchamacallit there, the signings, the two big hot stove signings with Garrett Cole and Anthony Rendon, and NHL. Yeah, I suppose we could do that. Maybe we could throw some of that in there. I'll look into it. I'll look into see if I can find some notes on that, and
all right,
and maybe we'll just go from there. I say we should just abolish power rankings altogether because power rankings are just very tough, you know.
All right.
So
no problem with that
because we usually have a hard time with those anyway. So,
yeah.
So I mean, if we abolished it for the football shows, we should obviously abolish it for the regular shows too.
Yep.
So,
and I don't have a problem with that. I totally agree. So yeah.
And I'm sure Bullock would probably agree with that too. So but yeah, so we're just gonna focus on the headline news stories. That's really all there is to say on that. Now, Friday night, Cerebral Smack Talk. I know we're gonna review SmackDown Live and Friday Night SmackDown. I know we're gonna preview the Rumble. Now, MF, are we gonna preview the Worlds Collide as well? Is that are we gonna get into that too?
What was that?
Are we gonna preview the Worlds Collide on Friday?
We will preview Worlds Collide, and we will also preview the Royal Rumble as well. Yes.
And that will be after our SmackDown review.
Yes.
Okay. So there you go. So that'll be on Friday, and then Sunday night, immediately following the Rumble, we will have the recap over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, and then next week we'll have Ridiculously Raw and Wednesday Night Mayhem and all that, and then our big Super Bowl preview show on the 31st. So taking the place of Cerebral Smack Talk for a week. So that's it. So until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem, it's your ridiculous over good brother Anthony Florio here, signing off for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, for the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson, and always and forever Derek Forever. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune Forest style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on Zone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, remember, my dear friends, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. For now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.